Hello, my name is Anthony, and you might be wondering why there are children on your screen right now. Well, how would you feel to know at least one of these children are going to bed hungry tonight? And it's not because they were stubborn. Simply put, it's because there wasn't enough food or enough good food for them to eat to go to bed fulfilled. And this problem is so prevalent in America that that one child could be your cousin, your nephew, niece, family friend. And unfortunately, for some of you, you can directly relate to, topic of the speech, which is childhood hunger in America. And I chose this as my speech because I have two kids and I understand what it's like to struggle to get food on the table sometimes. Sometimes I go hungry so they can eat, so there's enough food for them to eat. And I'm in a better place now, but it still hurts my heart to know that there are kids out there that go to bed hungry. So first of all, let's define what constitutes childhood hunger. And according to the USDA, that is called food insecurity. So food insecurity can be broken down into two different categories. There's low food security, which is the reduced quality, variety, or desirability of diet. Little or no indication of reduced food intake, which basically means they're not eating well, but they are eating. So like McDoubles, cheap foods, fast foods that don't give them the nutrients they need, but fill their stomachs so they're not complaining. Very low food security are multiple indications of disrupted eating patterns and reduced food intake. Simply put, that's going to bed hungry. No food in the pantry. Mom, dad couldn't cook any food because there's nothing to cook. And this has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. And back in 2019, food insecurity was only at 11%. We were actually on a downward trend. We were at probably one of the lowest points we've ever been in history. But because of the pandemic, it has shot up to almost 15%. Loss of jobs and income has made already tight budgets even tighter. The supply chain disruption left grocery store shelves bare. Lockdowns prompted people to hoard and stockpile shelf-stable foods, not leaving enough for everyone else. But the main one that affected children were the school shutdowns. It made it harder for some of the 30 million children that rely on low cost and free school lunches to get those lunches. Sometimes that'd be the only food they ate that day. So with that gone, they're left wondering where their next meal is coming from. All that's to say is this pandemic has left lower quality foods and less of it in a lot of households in this country. This graph shows the food insecurity. About 7.6% of families have children in them that are food insecure. And of that 1% of don't have very low food security, which means those kids do not eat sometimes. And those kids that don't eat, there are researched effects that hurt children due to hunger. And that's delayed development in young children. There's physical and mental aspects to this. There's physically, you got chronic illnesses like asthma and anemia that have been correlated to bad diets or no diets. Behavioral problems stem from childhood hunger, and you have hyperactivity, anxiety, aggression, all because these kids are frustrated. They're not knowing where their next meal is coming from. And the only way they can work through that frustration is by acting out. So how do we beat childhood hunger? I could not tell you. There are smarter men that have come up with more ideas than I have on how to beat this, yet it still prevails. And we are one of the best countries in the world, and yet we still have millions of children that might not know where their next meal comes from. But there are organizations out there that are combating childhood hunger. And one of those organizations is Feeding America. And they work to get nutrient-packed food and farmers, manufacturers, and retailers to people in need. They also seek to help people they serve to build path to a brighter food secure future. And they do this by working on three principles. The first one is food safety. Feeding America makes sure the food they feed everyone facing hunger is filling, healthy, and safe. And they make sure it's safe by having the same stringent requirements of all others in the industry. That's your farmer, your grocery store, your restaurant, food truck. They hold themselves to the highest standards possible. So these people in need of food get higher quality foods. The second pillar they work on is nourishing food. They make sure that the produce is fresh and that it's available to these hungry people. And one of the ways they do that is through mobile food pantries. And those are just, delivery trucks that drop off food to people who live in rural areas and can't get out to the food banks, or people who just don't have cars and have no way of getting around. They do their best to take care of these people. Another way is they network with farms and food banks to make sure these farmers who have possible surplus food gets it out and into the hands of people that need it through food banks by donating or selling excess food to them. Feeding America also likes to make sure people are knowledgeable about healthy eating, and they do this in two ways. The first, a little suspect, they make high visibility for healthy foods. That means they work with grocery stores to put the bread, the rice, all that good stuff up front, so you see that more and impulse buy that more than, say, cereal or box of sodas or any of that stuff that no one really needs. They also try to provide these people that are hungry with hands-on education, with the knowledge of what to do with these nutrient-packed foods that they're getting that might not be as tasty as a McDouble, how the best ways to cook them and make it so they want to continue this healthy diet, even if they are no longer in need of extra food. And the third pillar is food security. They do this by raising awareness. They engage the public about hunger through PSAs, public service announcements, and using celebrities, high visible celebrities, to get their message out. They advocate for food insecure people through Congress and up in DC, lobbying. They try to get federal and state programs that help food insecure families get the food that they need. They also do in-depth research to figure out who needs what and why they need it. And through this research, Feeding America hopes that they can solve hunger once and for all. And solving that hunger would do tremendous things for our society. These kids who can't succeed in life because they're worried about their next food, they're worried about survival rather than making a life for themselves. They'll be able to focus on school, focus on extracurricular activities, able to get into college and make a better economic future for themselves, to which in turn they can apply their talents back into society and raise us even higher. But if food insecurity rises like it is now, there a myriad of problems could happen. These kids now are stealing to find their next food. They're not worried about school, ditching class to go hustle for some extra money. Their grades suffer. They don't get into college, and they possibly start off life on the wrong foot and just perpetuate the cycle. So what can you do to help? And you can, obviously, Feeding America is a great organization. You can donate time, resources, or anything to. But I want to challenge you guys to not think about corporate or big picture things. Just you don't need to volunteer your time or your money. Just look out for others in your community and offer aid when you see the opportunity. If someone needs a food cooked for them, just take care of it and just help them out. And just remember, 1 in 6 kids experience some kind of food insecurity. and every meal does count.